Hi, Emma from Gorgeous again, back with a quick how-to video, this time on how to cast off using Tubular Cast Off, which is a great stretchy cast off for any 1x1 ribbing. So let's get going. So here we go, we're going to do a tubular cast off. Absolutely lovely. All I'm doing here is measuring up a nice long stretch, at least 4 times the length, or about 4 times the length of your piece of work. Simply take a tapestry needle and thread it. So when I first learned how to do this, I thought it was really complicated because I didn't quite understand that actually the first 2 stitches when you started off are different, and then after that it's very straightforward. So each stitch we've got a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. So on the very first knit stitch we're going to purl it and we're going to leave it on. And then we're going to go round the back, and from the back we're going to go into the purl stitch. Between the first stitch and the second stitch we're coming through the back, and then we're going to go through it knitwise. So we're going to go through it like that. So those are our setup stitches. Now let's get down to the bit we do every day. This is a knit stitch, so we're going to put the tapestry through knitwise and then take the stitch off, go to the next knit stitch, which is 2 along, and go from right to left through the front of it in a purlwise direction, in fact. And the other thing that surprised me when I started was that you always make sure you're pulling this quite tight, not too tight, but make sure you've pulled it through because it's loose enough already. This is a purl stitch. The first, so we're going to go into that purlwise, take it off, and then go into the next purl stitch from the back in a purlwise, from the back in a knitwise direction, and pull it tight. This was a knit stitch, so we're just going to go knit it and off with its head, slip it through purlwise. So what you're in effect doing is each stitch gets its first treatment purlwise if it's a knit stitch, and then off with its head as a knit stitch, and then the purl stitch, we go, its first treatment is through the back and is a knit stitch, and the second treatment is purlwise, take it off, go back through the back to the next purl stitch and go through the stitch, pull it not tight but firm, knit stitch, take it off through the front as though it were purlwise to the next knit stitch, and then we've got a purl stitch, so we're going to take that off purlwise, and then we're going to go to the next stitch, purl stitch, sorry, through the back to the front, and then go through it as though it were a knit stitch. The next stitch is a knit stitch, and so we're going to take that off knitwise, go to the next knit stitch and just go through the front of it. Each stitch in effect gets 2 treatments. So this was a purl stitch, purlwise, through the back between the first and the second stitch. That purl stitch there is now going to go forwards through there. And then this was a knit stitch, so we take it off knitwise and we come to the next knit stitch. And this was a purl stitch, so we're going to come up, take it off purlwise, and then go to skip the knit stitch, go to the second stitch, between the first and the second stitch, and then through that stitch, as it were, knitwise. And the next stitch to come off is a knit stitch, and then we go to the knit stitch away, second stitch in, the next knit stitch, and through the front. This was a purl stitch, so we take it off purlwise, and then we approach the next purl stitch from the back, take it through, give it a nice tug. This is a knit, knit. You've probably picked up how to do this by now, but I'm just going to take you to the end just because when you get left with 2 stitches, what then? That's the question that we shall soon find the answer to. So this was a knit stitch, so we're going to take it off. Oh, this was a purl stitch, so I'm going to take it off purlwise. I'm going to go to the next purl stitch, which is also the lot. Excuse me. That was a purl stitch, taking off. Go to the next purl stitch and go through the back, and then enter it from the front. And now we're left with 2 stitches. So this is the knit stitch. Take it off knitwise. Just pull that one through, and we're literally going to take the purl stitch off purlwise. And one more stitch through, and we're done. So that's it. It's almost invisible cast off. I love it. It's very stretchy. It's as stretchy as the cast on. Looks great, hey? Thank you.